dear colleagues, dear partners, hello, bonjour, grüezi. We at the Data Science Competence Center, DSCC for short, of the Swiss Federal Statistical Office are very happy to welcome you to our webinar series, Data Science and AI for Public Good. My name is Yara Abu Awad, and I'm a senior data scientist and group lead at the DSCC, and I will be your moderator today. We are thrilled to have Dr. Ronald Jansen as a speaker. Dr. Jansen has led the work of the United Nations Statistic Division on data innovation and statistical capacity management since 2018. In this position, he supports the work of the UN Committee of Experts on Big Data and Data Science for Official Statistics, including support for the committee's task teams, regional and global hubs, the UN platform, global platform, and the Data Science Leaders Network. Dr. Jansen received a PhD degree in May of 1990 in mathematical modeling of human information processing from the University of Nijmegen in the Netherlands. He joined the United Nations in June of 1990, where he worked in international trade and globalization for many years and led the division's work in that area from 2010 to 2018. His talk today is entitled, "What has changed in official statistics since using big data and data science for the last 10 years?" We will take questions at the end of his talk, so please submit any questions you have using the Mentimeter link provided in your invitation, which you can also find in the description bar below this video. So without any further ado, Dr. Jansen, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Yara. Let me share my screen. So you can see my presentation.
Yes, we can.
So thank you all for joining today. I'm Ronald Jansen. I'm with the United Nations Statistics Division. We are in New York. The Statistics Division is the mandate and the purpose of the Statistics Division is to serve the Statistical Commission under the UN, which is the intergovernmental body where member states get together to discuss what should be the concept, definition, standards, all kinds associated with official statistics. So with the dissemination of all the statistics and indicators by all of the statistical offices around the world, like the Federal Statistical Office of Switzerland. Within that context of the Statistical Commission, about 10 years ago, member states or statistical offices, basically, we have the chief statisticians in the room, they wanted to do more about big data and new kinds of methods. They wanted to see how those kind of new developments in the digital era could be used also by statistical officers to improve their delivery of services. So in 2014, let me see if I can move my presentation. At that time, what was called at that time a global working group on big data was established by the Commission. Over time, it changed its name to the UN Committee of Experts on Big Data and Data Science for Official Statistics. And the mandate was to that this group, which would consist of a number of statistical officers and international statistical institutes, that they would provide a strategic vision of the global program on big data for official statistics, that they would look into the practical use of big data sources and look into the challenges, find solutions for methodological issues, legal, privacy, data security, and some cost-benefit analysis for acquiring big data and using it in your office. So what would be the cost both in acquiring the technical skills, the infrastructure, and so forth. Also to promote capacity building, because this would require new kinds of skills for a statistical office, and to communicate about the work that was done by this committee of experts. And one of the I would say also main topics for this committee of experts is maintaining public trust. Is like if fairly sensitive big data are going to be used by statistical officers, how are you dealing with this? From, of course, from a data privacy point of view, but more generally, making sure that that whatever results you would get by using, for instance, mobile phone data, would also have public trust in using those kinds of data. I'm going to give you first an overview of the various things that this committee of experts did. So they started work 10 years ago, 2014. Just when Yara was making the introduction, she mentioned I started working here in 2018. Well, in fact, I started working with this committee of experts already in 2014, but the statistics division, my office, only included data innovation as a structural team in 2018. So there is this gradual kind of evolvement about how to introduce use of big data and data science in an office, including in my own office. What was developed in this committee of experts, if you look at the at this slide, the light blue colored boxes at the bottom, those are the task teams. Those are teams of experts from statistical offices, but also from academia, private sector, and civil society, experts coming together to work on particular topics. I will go into some detail for most of those task teams. There are two task teams which I will not go into any further detail about, because they're relatively new. They're starting to develop. So one of them is access to privately held data. We're still trying to find out the exact angle that this task team is taking in providing a guidance and information to statistical offices. And the other one is a new task team. It's on data science and SDG localization, which looks at how data science can be used for compiling SDG indicators at a very local level, so cities or like in Switzerland, the cantons or something like that. So more local level development of the SDG indicators. By also doing this with integration of statistics and geospatial information. So that's what that group is looking at. So I will say something about the other task teams. I will also say something about the Data Science Leaders Network, which is relatively new. We have, I will mention on the side, the various regional and global hubs that are functioning under this committee. These are initiatives by national statistical offices to help promote collaboration on big data projects and provide capacity building in the regions around the world. So we have a regional hub for Latin America and the Caribbean in Rio de Janeiro in Brazil. There's a regional hub in Indonesia for Asia and the Pacific. There's a regional hub in Rwanda for Africa. We have one in Dubai for the Middle East and North Africa. And then there are two global hubs. One is on artificial intelligence and environmental sustainability. This is this ARIES for SIA, which is in Bilbao, Spain. And then we have a global hub on big data and data science in Hangzhou in China, which is specialized as becoming a center of excellence on Earth observation for agriculture statistics and the measurement of the digital economy. So there's a lot of information here, and I will try to see if I can make this a little bit clearer to you. What we wanted to do as a committee is also do practical work. And to do practical work, it would be good if we had a cloud environment where we could do big projects together. So we or actually the Office of National Statistics of the UK, of the United Kingdom, they developed in the period 2018-2020, they developed a cloud environment, which we call the UN Global Platform, which is there to put some global data sets, to put services, and I will say a little bit more about that. So that global collaboration among statistical officers, among experts from our community, but including again also giving access to experts for partners that we work with from academia or private sector to work together on projects. So the global platform provides access to some data, access to technology services, access to expertise, and I think that's key also, that you can work with other experts around the world, and makes it possible also for smaller offices to engage in big data projects, because this is the infrastructure that would allow them to make use of it. From the global data set, we have on the platform AIS vessel tracking data. This is the automated identification system, which in almost real time keeps track of where ships of a certain size, where they are, and with what speeds they are moving. So this information is provided to our platform every couple of minutes. The fleet is around 200 to 300,000 ships, all around the world. So that data is available, and I will show you some examples of projects that are currently running. So this is relatively new. We have this for maybe 3 or 4 years, but it has gained a lot of interest and a lot of good projects from statistical officers to work with. We also are working on getting synthetic data on the platform, specifically in the area of mobile phones, where of course it's very sensitive to put real mobile phone data on a platform, which would not be what we want to do. So synthetic data is something so that we can use this to develop algorithms to train people also on how to use this kind of data. We have some additional support data for instance, for the AIS vessel tracking data. The trade data and shipping register data are very useful support information to add on. It's also the other way around. If you start using maritime transport data and you have shipping register data, you can estimate the trade that is taking place, and those kinds of output data can be fed back into the platform for others to use. All right, some technology which is on the platform is so the cloud we use is mostly the AWS Amazon cloud. We're trying to get the Google Cloud Platform also as a service available, and in principle we're also open to use Microsoft Azure or Alibaba. So we want to be a cloud, how you say it, and it would be cloud. We're not supporting a specific cloud. We would be using multiple clouds if possible. We have developer services. So for those data scientists who want to get going, we have that service available, and it is being used for quite a variety of projects. As I said, expertise is a big asset that we have. So we have data scientists from quite a few statistical offices and international organizations, or statisticians, data scientists, and also data scientists from some of the private sector and academia working with us. But we also need data engineers, right? So to build the various data pipelines, maintain the system, make it optimize use. We really need very good data engineers to be able to do that. So the statistical domains, if I start from the right side of this one, it's definitely transport and trade of the projects that we are running, but we also, as you will see later on in the slides that I show from the task teams, we're also looking into prices, consumer price index, tourism, migration, and agriculture is one of the areas we really look into. So technology stack, well, this is just a very small set of that, but just wanted to highlight that one of the things we are working with is .stat. That's there's a community around that led by the OECD, and we use this for data warehousing and data modeling, and so it's something that we maintain, and some statistical officers are also using it on our platform, like Cambodia and Kyrgyzstan, Maldives. So some are working with that .stat on our platform. Projects, we're actually having so many projects now using the AIS data that we are going to do a survey to keep track of that. We also have some projects in the area of privacy enhancing technology. So where you see PetLab, that's privacy enhancing technology, the lab, where we also do some projects to see how we are testing those kinds of technologies on data sets. I mean, the data sets that we use are not very sensitive, but the goal in the end is to use sensitive data, to be able to use these technologies on sensitive data and protect them. Let me go on to some of the work of the task teams that we have. So we have a task team. One of the first task teams was on use of Earth observations for official statistics. It's focusing mostly on use of Earth observation for agriculture statistics. So this is about mapping crop statistics, estimating crop yield. It also does some land cover, land use mapping, and we could use it, but we're not doing it at this time very much, is on the human settlement. So we are in contact with projects like on the mapping of informal settlements in metropolitan areas. But the focus is on agriculture statistics. Oh, sorry. There are two publications. Each of those task teams does, on one hand, prepare, develop guidance, methodological guidance, also showing what practices are done around the world, and then also executing projects where possible. There was a first publication in 2017 that's a fairly complete overview of what can be done with satellite imagery and geospatial data. And then in 2022, the publication is very much focused on agricultural production. So can recommend those publications to you. There is also some very practical information available in association with the task teams. For instance, a lot of GitHub repositories are available in, for instance, in this case, related to the Earth observations. So this is a GitHub on satellite image time series analysis. It is something which Gilberto Camara has been putting together. It's very useful information for those who are interested in getting their hands on some of the algorithms being used, some more detailed technical information about, and what's on this page here about like analysis ready data image. I saw that there's reference also made to the Swiss data cube. So a lot of information that can be used. The point I wanted to make here is that in each of those task teams, there is also some kind of practical information in the background. And if you're interested, please ask us. The mobile phone group is very active. We have in this group development of use of mobile phone data for a number of statistical domains. So in the development of handbooks, there is the use of mobile phone data for tourism statistics. That's a group led by Indonesia. So that those handbooks are actually published and available. So one is on tourism statistics, one on migration, one on dynamic population. That means distinctions between where people are at daytime, if they go to work, the commuting, right? Where people are at night, where people are in the weekend. So the dynamic population statistics can be measured with the use of mobile phone data, because the mobile phone data allow you to see human mobility, human movement. Transport and commuting statistics. Again, also in the same sense about where people move during the day. Information society indicators. This is about the connectivity. Where are the cell towers? How many people have actually access to telecommunication and Wi-Fi? That's led by the International Telecommunication Union, by ITU, and ITU is also the chair of this group, the leader of this group. And then mobile phone data have been shown to be very useful where there are like natural disasters. For instance, where there was a volcanic eruption somewhere a couple of years ago in Africa, and to find displacement of people after the eruption, mobile phone data showed to be very useful. So that after that, yeah, they could start doing the reconstruction efforts using those kinds of data. How is it done? This is an example from the Statistical Office of Oman, which has been experimenting with the use of mobile phone data. There are two main mobile phone operators in Oman, and what you see on this slide is the three phases of data collection and cleaning. Phase one, and then they have a quality gate there before it goes to phase two, where there is the statistical process and data modeling before it goes to phase three, which is the actual dissemination of the data. So that's also where they would do at the dissemination side. Include aggregation, making sure that that privacy is preserved and things like that, and also the combining here in this case, combining the data from the two operators to come to a and then expand. I mean, if there are more operators or if the coverage is not full, to get a full coverage by estimation and modeling for the dissemination of the data. So this is just an illustration about how this roughly works. This is one of the outputs which was produced in Oman. Positium, that's a private sector company of Estonia, is helping statistical officers, a number of statistical officers around the world in being able to use a mobile phone data to process them. What you see on this slide. If you look at the bottom slide, the darker line there is the number of nights that the tourists spend in that particular area in Oman, and the lighter blue is the number of trips, or the daytime presence of the tourists, which on the lower part here in Salalah has the same kind of pattern. If you look at the top one, the night spent is very low. It's hardly to see, but it's very much close to zero. But there are trips during the day, and this is caused in that area because these are tourists coming from cruise ships. So they basically are there during the day, and then at night they go back on the cruise ship. Don't spend it on Kasab. I guess that's one of the islands of Oman. This is just an illustration. I think also interesting for this particular kind of slide. If you look at the bottom slide again, this is early 2020, and you see that towards the middle of March, the visits are going down to zero, and that's when the COVID pandemic hit and caused a lot of disruptions to the tourism industry. Another task team is the task team on the use of scanner data and web scraping for price statistics. They are about to release their handbook. There is an Ottawa group meeting mid-May. Ottawa group is the a city group, so a kind of an intergovernmental group working on price statistics. So this task team is going to present their handbook basically on innovative methods. Use of alternative data sources to compile price statistics and specifically also the consumer price index. And I'm just presenting on this screen here, particular area like data filtering. And you can imagine that behind these data filtering, there are a lot of algorithms, and those algorithms are again also available, and you can contact if you're interested in this particular kind of application. Here, just as an illustration, this is from Statistics Canada, that they use different ways of improving their price statistics. So they do web scraping for certain kinds of data, like clothing stores, home improvement. They use an API directly for data from airlines and hotels, and they use scanner data for food, personal care. So they would get the scanner data from bigger supermarkets or supermarket chains, and use that for food, personal care, and so forth. And then and there is a fourth kind of in-house internet collection, which they do on other travel and transport. So this is the way Canada is trying to modernize their collection and processing of data for the compilation of price statistics. I move on to another task team, which is the task team on the use of this AIS shipping data. So we do get, as I mentioned, the actual, we acquire as a community, we acquire the AIS shipping data, and we put that on our platform. This is a high volume of data, and they need to be cleaned and pre-processed first. So we do have experts from some of our collaborating statistical institutes who are doing that work to prepare these data and make them analysis ready. And once they're analysis ready, they are put into various kinds of application. And one of them is here on the screen. That is the Port Watch application, which is led by IMF. They do this in partnership with Oxford University, and they actually use our platform, the UN Global Platform, for the data and executing their application. So they can showcase very quickly trade disruptions. So if there is a disruption somewhere, within a couple of days, they were able to show what impact this has on maritime transport. So, I mean, I can advise you going to the site to get more detailed information. But let me show you something on trade disruption in the Red Sea, in that area. What that meant for shipping companies to start changing their routes. And this is actually whereas we have the IMF application, the Data Science Campus of the UK is also working on this, and they looked into ship traffic in critical maritime passages like the Red Sea, right? This is a publication only from about last week, which they put out. So a very recent publication that I can advise you to go to. This is one slide I wanted to show you, is that in the red line, I hope you can see that. The red line is the shipping activity in 2024. And the blue lines are 2022, 2023. The axis here is the week, so the activity during the week. You can see with the red line that the activity in the Red Sea and Suez Canal is going down in 2024. And what happened is that the ships are rerouted around the Cape of Good Hope, so they have to go a much longer way. And there you can see that there is an uptake in ships. So the application showed to be very useful very quickly. Let me go on. We have cross-cutting issues like privacy-enhancing technologies. So the Privacy Enhancing Technology Task Team has put out guidance and has put out in this guidance also 18 case studies. So you can have a look at those case studies and see if that would be of interest to your institute or your organization, and see how that could be applied. So all of this is in let's say, an experimental phase. They're testing. This is one example about how to combine data from various institutes in a very secure and privacy safe way. So if you combine data from hospital, from patients, from insurance company, and additional information from a statistical officer, how could you do this in a secure way? So this is described in one of the case studies. I wanted to show this also. This is a recent publication, again by the Data Science Campus of the UK, with Swiss cheese, and I thought that might be useful for this presentation. It is about developing a privacy-preserving record linkage toolkit. I recommend again that you read this. So one illustration which I wanted to give to you is how they use secure enclaves to make sure that you can actually audit what was exactly done on the data. I don't go into any specific technical details about how this works, but the idea is to preserve privacy, and so this approach to have overlapping security has been called Swiss cheese model. So for those who want to know more about that, please go to that particular publication, a paper. We have a training task team. The training task team has been doing work on one hand is the big data maturity metrics. That is to see where a statistical office is in its development of capacities, in development of use of big data or data science. Then there are training curricula. So if for particular applications, if it is on use of scanner data web scraping for price statistics, or if it is for use of Earth observations for agriculture statistics, the task team has started to develop curricula about what courses you could take to prepare yourself getting the right kind of skills. And there is also a competency framework which would indicate for certain substantive areas of work what kind of competencies are needed. There are e-learning courses developed by the task teams, and the training task team is trying to put them together. We have a learning management system where the e-learning courses can be accessed. We can also provide you information on that if you're interested. The Data Science Campus of the UK has had a mentorship program. I think at the moment there is a pause, but we do this kind of mentorship programs. So training of data scientists, and there is also indication of training of data scientists at other academic centers. A last quick word on the Data Science Leaders Network, and then I will go to the survey that we did. So Data Science Leader Network is relatively new. The purpose of this group is to develop guidance to statistical officers about how to implement data science or a data science team more structurally, systematically into the work of the statistical office. They're looking at various levels of integration of data science. So first, more basic level is automation of statistical production processes. Even though also automation can be at different levels of sophistication, but you can do like automatic classification, so automatic classification of descriptions into codes, right? We do have a second level of developing indicators in emerging issues. This was particularly the case when we had the COVID pandemic. A lot of indicators were needed very quickly, and data science, new data sources had proven to be very useful for that. And then changing statistical production is a more long-term engagement, and this Data Science Leaders Network is developing a playbook, what we call, where it will show automation, the supplementary indicators, and also some indication about how to go into changing your production if you include data science into this. We have many partners, and I mentioned this a few times, from private sector and academia working with statistical officers in this work. So very quick words on the a 10-year review or a survey that we did to see what statistical officers have done in the last 10 years and specifically also where they are right now. We did this last year in July, August. We sent a survey to, or we asked, this is an online survey, we asked the institutes to complete that survey to all national statistical offices. 87 of them replied to it. So we sent it to approximately 150 or so, 150 to 200. 87 replied to this. We also separately did some interviews with experts from our community or related to our community. So both from statistical officers, but also from some of our partners to give their views about what has happened and how the committee of experts also functions. This is a quick overview of the breakdown. So we have quite a few officers from Europe replying, but it is quite dispersed around the world, so that's good. I also, in terms of developed and developing countries, I would say it is about 50-50 on that. In the survey, we used the structure for that. We used the generic activity model of statistical organizations. So along the topics like strategic vision, legislation, institutional arrangements, data sources, quality assurance, human resources, and IT management. So those are the areas where we ask questions. In total, we had 62 questions. I only will show a few results on that. And the interview was more focused on what the committee of experts did and how work could be improved there. So strategic vision. So the question there was if they could check all the topics which are part of your innovation strategy. So you can see on the side of the national statistical officers, they checked a lot of the topics that we asked on, so that they put that in their innovation strategy. So this is like, it might be difficult to read for you, but the blue one to the left, the dark blue, is access to data from private sector. The orange bar is on modernization of statistical legislation. The green one is use of satellite data. Then the red one is about IT cloud computing. The purple one is on data privacy protection. So data privacy protection is definitely, in most cases, part of the innovation strategy of a statistical office. And then the brown one is a capacity development, which is the one which is most frequent for the international organizations. So they are trying to prepare themselves, getting the right skills to be able to work with the national statistical offices, I guess. And the pink bar is on collaboration with university and private sector. So this is a bit of an overview about what statistical offices have engaged with and what they put in their strategic vision, so what they want to engage with also. Infrastructure. So which of the following options describes the change of technology infrastructure in your institute for processing of alternative data like big data? I only mention here the pink one, which is a gradual upgrade of IT infrastructure. So that's what most statistical offices did. It's not a jump. It was more a gradual change. Same for the international statistical offices. The blue bar to the left is introduction of IT cloud services. Still, only about half of the offices or national statistical offices have engaged now with cloud computing. These are the data sources. Let me again do the striking bar here, which is the pink one again. And that one is about the use of additional administrative data sources. So in the whole spectrum of new digital data sources, statistical officers still like administrative data, and they want to use more of it from all of it which is available in their country. And this could, of course, also be driven by the fact that digital transformation took place in many ministries. So the availability of administrative data is improving and could then be used by statistical offices. The one in the red here in the middle is web scraping, and the blue one to the left is satellite data. So this gives you a bit of an idea. Now, questions more specifically to if statistical officers or international organizations engage with the committee of experts. So in which statistical offices, which task teams does your office take part? For statistical officers, there is a lot of room for improvement because all of the bars are relatively low for engagement in task teams. And then the teal kind of color here, that bar is that they are not engaged in any of the task teams. So that are most of the statistical officers actually who are not engaged yet. So we hope to change that. International organizations are more engaged with the work that we are doing. Which task teams would you like to get involved with? And there, of course, there is more interest by statistical officers to actually engage. Specifically also the green one here on the use of scanner data for price statistics. A bit of a summary and in closing here. Most statistical offices include modernization and data science and use of big data in their strategic agenda of their office. They're looking into updating their statistical legislation specifically to be able to access privately held data. They are concerned, or they like to access private sector data, but like also to protect data privacy while doing that. And they want to, it's about half of the officers want to develop their data science capabilities. So roadmap to develop capacity is there for most offices. Half of them have started using cloud services. And as you saw, there is quite a bit of room for engagement with the committee of experts. One thing is that we know as a committee of experts that we have to communicate better. It was also mentioned in the survey and the interviews. We have to put better information on our website and communicate also through other media about the work that we do. The mandate of the committee of experts after 10 years will be updated. We're still trying to find the best formulation for this. What's on the screen is just one way of doing that, but we're actually currently working with the bureau of the committee to develop a new mandate, which should be finalized by November of this year. Then last slide here is what's next. I personally think that there will be more and more data science integrated in the work of statistical officers. This includes also use of artificial intelligence, use of natural language processing, and so forth. Will be more and more part of the business processes of statistical officers, and use also of more experimental data. I think there will be more partnerships with academia, private sector, research institutes across the data landscape, because the data landscape is expanding over the last years, and statistical officers need to engage with that. This does ask for more data governance about access to data, so equal access to data. This is both within a country, but also across the world. The privacy enhancing technologies, I think, are really important. They are the enablers for data sharing. I think there will be more work on this. We're trying to see if we can integrate this into the work more systematically into the work of statistical officers. I also think that the notion of not sharing data, both by all kinds of partners who have sensitive and informative data available. It could be private sector, it can be ministries or others, that the risk or the liability of not sharing data will become more prominent. It's like if disasters could be prevented by using better data, there is an obligation also by institutes to make data available in a secure and safe way. There is also attention within the UN, and I guess also at national level, on information integrity and on the ethics of using data. So those areas will get attention as well. And I'll stop here. So thank you. I can invite you to the upcoming 8th International Conference on Big Data. It's in Bilbao. It's from 10th to 14th of June. We'll discuss a lot of the things that I've shown here today. Thank you. Back to you, Yara.
Thank you so much for your presentation. We do have some time for questions, and I wanted to remind people that they can go on the Mentimeter link that was in their invitation. And it's also in the description of the YouTube video that they are currently watching. So I think we have time for a few of these questions. Are you ready, Ronald?
I am ready. Please
You're
go ahead,
ready?
Yara.
Okay, so the first question: what progress has been made to address ethical and legal frameworks for member states to share or collaborate with the private sector, NGOs, or academic institutes? And they have examples. They say, for example, Google or Amazon, etc.
Yeah, so I see that as two different things, right? The collaboration with Google and Amazon. It's a little bit separate with the general issue of data privacy, privacy protection, privacy. So the privacy enhancing technology group that we have, I would say, has very good experts from both academia, private sector, and statistical officers, and some of the civil society, like Open Mind is working with us. So, so there is a lot of work going on to see how we can share data between institutes, maybe even between countries, so between institutes across countries, given the fact that a lot of issues are global, they're not just national, in the environmental space, in health space, and so forth. So sharing of data is really important. And if you can do that in a way that the original data cannot be seen or cannot be accessed or cannot be retrieved, so individual records are protected while still maximizing the utilization of the value of the data, I think that's the way forward where we want to go. So that's on the data privacy. I hope I answered that part. In working with the private sector, that's a bit of a more broader question. Is like, does it mean you want to have access data that Amazon might have, or that Google might have in collaborations? We've from a statistical community not achieved much in sharing data with them. We're what we do mostly with the bigger companies is working as partners on technology side. So if there are concerns around that, so we're trying to have them on the cybersecurity side. We're working with Amazon, with AWS to make sure that our cloud is secure and things like that. So so it's a more complicated kind of a topic if you start seeing how the engagement is with the big tech companies. So what we are engaging with as this group of statistical expert is mostly with smaller IT related companies, with which for us is a little easier to work with.
Okay.
I hope that answers it, but yeah.
Yeah, I think so. The next question asks, regardless of the safety aspects, how can we sharpen users' awareness when combining data sets so that they recognize data and they have inaccuracy with IN in brackets? So I guess so that users recognize data accuracy and inaccuracy, spurious correlations, or different methods of data collection. So this is about the end user and making them more aware of, I guess, issues when we're combining data sets.
Right. That's yeah. So again, several aspects of the question. One is data literacy, right? So and how far do we also have a responsibility to educate the public more generally about data quality and making them aware of flaws in data or possible flaws in data. There is a group working at the UN, or there's attention to it in a very general sense about information integrity. It's like, how can we inform people about what is misleading, what is not misleading? How can we also avoid that misleading information is going out, and so forth? That's more general. From the statistical community, if I focus in on the statistical community, we have as a statistical community also a kind of an obligation to indicate that certain data are wrong, right? So if something is published, then we as a statistical community can point out on the basis of data that your office might have that this is incorrect. So that's one thing of educating people. To sort of warn people, yeah, I think that's on the data literacy side. There is another aspect, is that combining data heightens or increases the possibility of revealing privacy data, right? You only have to combine a few data sets to exactly know where somebody lives. So there is so once we start combining data, data privacy techniques becoming even more important. There was a recent study by the U.S. Census Bureau in relation to their census data, that they were doing a lot of work in dissemination of the census data to make sure that privacy was preserved, right? But as soon as you start combining the US Census data with some other data, very quickly you can reveal very small geospatial areas with personal information. So there are things that you have to be really careful with, and yes, there are a lot of people working on the privacy and enhancing technologies. Also within the Swiss Statistical Office, we have very good collaboration from them. And it's a topic that, as I mentioned in my last slide, is really something that will continue growing interest, and we will get better at using it.
Hopefully. Well, probably.
Probably.
Highly likely.
We're very optimistic.
Yes. And now this question, I think, was cut off. So is there a consensus within the UN that data science should be part of statistics? Which I guess is sort of
yes.
the origin, right? Yes.
The answer is yes. That one I can very quickly answer, because to enter the US as a junior professional, there are exams. So we have had many years. We had the statistics exam for the area of statistics. It has been since 2 years now. It is called Statistics and Data Science exam. So there is an exam actually with data science questions on it, and we have job descriptions. We have job profiles of data scientists at the various levels of the professional category. Yeah. And
are there countries where this is not the case? That the countries that don't believe that data science should be part of statistics?
Well, that I don't know. The only thing I know is that many countries are interested and want to get involved. And this is, of course, it is more prevalent in more advanced countries. In more developed countries, with advanced offices. But many offices are working on this. Sierra Leone has a data science group. Ghana has a very good data science team that recently won our Datathon, and they're very proud of that. So data science is being developed. I think Rwanda has a data science team and so forth. So it is in many countries coming up.
Oh, someone mentions you by name, and they say, could Ronald comment on the balance between development being driven by technical possibilities versus being driven by user needs, and how do we effectively capture and respond to user needs?
Yeah, so I think it is very important that we keep the dialogue with those who are actually using the data. So yes, we are a very technical community, and we are very much focused on moving things forward on the technical level. But in the end, we are trying to inform policy needs. For that, we have our conference. So what my screen is no longer shared here, right? But what I had on the screen on the last one is the conference of big data in Bilbao, which is on informing climate change and sustainable development policy. So it is on the very important political or important issues on the political agendas. But what we do in those conferences is, on the first day, is just dialogue with policymakers. We want to hear from ministers, or we want to hear from a wider group of stakeholders what they need, and then we'll try to see. So we try to see if we still stay in touch. So the question is very relevant. We have to see that we stay in touch with things. in exploring in this innovation space, of course, we are exploring certain kind of data sources which have an application in certain kinds of substantive domains, right? They can't be applied to everything. So yes, if there are topics where the data sources where we have looked into are not used, we have to start looking for other data sources. That's definitely true. Back to you.
I think we have time for one more question, although it is just turned 3 p.m. So do you have time for one more question, or should we call it a day?
That's
good. Well, this is about the Bilbao conference that you were just talking about.
Good.
So this is good marketing. How can we engage with Bilbao conference remotely? Will it be live streamed at all?
Yes. The first, I expect that the first day, which is a plenary, the first day is plenary. We have more high-level panels and things like that. I expect that one that we're have that live streamed. So there was the opening will have some ministers, the head of the Statistical Office of Spain. We also have the chair of our committee of experts. So there is that's in the opening ceremony, and then we have some high-level panels on climate change and biodiversity, on sustainability of tourism, and a high-level panel on knowledge commons for global for global challenges. So that is so that's more on the technical side. So we have so those areas we are looking into. On the climate change side, we're looking also at the climate risk. So is the risk of risk and resilience in when we have climate change disasters and so forth. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess whoever asked that question should be happy now, because they can.
Yeah, and there is
watch the conference.
Go to the website. Sorry to interrupt you.
Oh, please go ahead.
Go to the website. There is also a registration link.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there is quite a bit of scope of participating. Of course, there is a preference to get the statistical community in the room, but also if there are academics and so forth who are interested to come and participate, there is room for them as well.
Okay. Well, thank you very, very much for your talk and for answering our questions. I know it's early in the morning where you are, so I'm going to wish you a lovely day, and I'm going to wish everyone else watching a lovely day too. So goodbye for now, and have fun in Spain at the conference.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me, and I hope it was useful for everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.